The yeas are 50, the nays are 48. The concurrent motion is agreed to.
A major setback appears to be building for Trump at home after the Iran war, as Congress moves to rein in his authority. Trump faces a sharp rebuke as the Senate advances a bid to curb his war powers over Iran. A bipartisan Senate vote is signaling growing resistance in Washington to any deeper U.S. conflict with Iran. Trump's authority over war decisions is being challenged as Congress tries to reassert its constitutional role. Even so, the U.S. appears to be keeping carrier firepower near Iran despite louder calls for de-escalation. The U.S. Senate voted to direct President Trump to withdraw American forces from the Iran conflict. The move marked one of the strongest congressional challenges this year to Trump's war powers. 4 Republican senators joined Democrats in backing the measure, underscoring bipartisan concern. The vote reflected growing unease in both parties over U.S. military involvement in the region. The resolution does not require Trump's signature and does not carry direct legal force. The vote exposed deepening divisions between Congress and the administration. Lawmakers continue to clash over who should control decisions on military action against Iran. The debate is likely to intensify as tensions with Tehran remain a central foreign policy issue. The Senate vote marked the latest effort by lawmakers seeking to limit presidential authority. Democrats have pushed war powers votes throughout the year, at times drawing Republican support. The latest move came after some Republicans broke ranks to support restrictions on Trump's authority. Trump blasted Republican critics, accusing them of undermining national interests and military strategy. Despite congressional pressure, U.S. forces appear to remain heavily deployed across the Middle East. U.S. Central Command said the USS George H.W. Bush and its carrier strike group continue operations near Iran. U.S. officials say naval forces remain vigilant as Washington monitors compliance with the Tehran deal. The continued deployment suggests the Pentagon is maintaining a strong posture despite peace efforts. Speaking at a rally in Pennsylvania on June 23, Trump praised recent progress with Iran. Trump said Iran must act responsibly under the agreement or risk renewed confrontation.
Reasonable if they're smart, otherwise we'll have to finish the job, which will take about maybe less than a week. But they're going to be okay, I think. They're going to do what they have to do because we want to have it done. But they voted against lower energy prices, the Democrats did, and then they went on to create the highest energy prices that we've ever had in the history of our country. People don't realize that. Much higher than ours during a war. They had the highest inflation in history. The highest inflation in history. They say 48 years, but that's sort of history as far as I'm concerned. And they were absolutely terrible on affordability. Remember, I got here, my first day, the fake news is screaming at me, what about affordability? I'm only here one day. Remember, eggs were up about 5 times higher than they ever were. And we have prices are coming down right now at levels that you've never seen. And now with oil crashing, you're going to see something really amazing. And to top everything else, they let 25 million people into our country, many of them criminals and thugs and people from mental institutions and drug dealers. They even let 11,888 murderers into our country. Murderers, 11,888, more than 50% of which have killed more than one person. And I've gotten the worst of them out. We've gotten them out, Tom Homan and our whole group of people. But the Democrats want open borders, and they want them all to come back in. You can imagine that. The people of this Commonwealth will never let that happen again. What they allowed to happen to our country, we can never allow to happen again. As an example, the war with Russia and Ukraine would have never, ever started if I were president. We can never let elections get rigged again. As you know, we just achieved a historic peace agreement with Iran to end the conflict in the Strait of Hormuz. And by the way, yesterday, 19 million barrels of oil flowed out of the Strait of Hormuz, a very beautiful place. That's the most That's the most oil in the history of the Strait. No, it's never been any, you've never seen anything like that. It's called an oil gusher. And most importantly, we are ensuring one thing very importantly, because this is why I did it. I did it for this reason, 99% for this. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, and they've agreed to that. But remember, this wasn't easy. We had 47 years worth of presidents and other people, other countries too. We're not the only one that never did anything. They were the bully of the Middle East. And now we're leaving Iran with no Navy, no Air Force, no anti-aircraft, no missile capability, no nuclear program. We're leaving them without any nuclear capacity, and they've agreed to that. And we're getting along quite well, although if you read the fake news, you never know. Think of it, the fake news. They have no army, they have no navy, they have no air force, they have no anti-aircraft. We can fly over Tehran just at will. Nobody going to do anything to us. And then I read the fake news that they're doing quite well. They're not doing quite well. These people right there, look at all of them. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's a lot of press. That's almost as much press as Bo had at the White House last week when he knocked out his opponent in the first round. Right? I think you had more. Bo had more press. But the Iran economy has been crushed, and their defense industrial base has been damaged so severely that it'll take them many years to rebuild, many, many years. And now we're trying to work out a deal that's fair. And we also want to work out a deal. You know, the stock market hit a new high today again. And oil, for the first time in months, hit, think of it, $70 a barrel. So we got at 70. That equates to a very low price. That oil is going to come charging down. And with oil comes everything else. Because I inherited from these Democrats. You know, they're Democrats. I changed the E for a U. It's very simple, Democrats. I don't know why I didn't think of that 9 years ago. I just thought of it about a month ago. They're Democrats because their policies are so dumb. But the Democrats voted in favor of Iran having a nuclear weapon, and they voted against military spending, but I overrode that. Let me tell you, if the Democrats get in, your 15,000 trucks that Mr. Roy is looking to get are dead. They're not going to have 15,000. They're not going to have 15 trucks. They'll be back to the number I originally guessed, right? How many are you making? 15? 15,000 trucks will be down to nothing, zero. And they'll make you put electric on it, you know, electric, so that when you're in the middle of a jungle someplace and you need a charge, where's my charging booth? As opposed to carrying a nice tank of diesel on your back, throwing it in and taking off, right? Where's my charging booth, they'll be saying. They created the strongest, we created the strongest military in history, and you see that with Venezuela. Venezuela, one-day operation, like, great. Good army. And now we're making a lot of money with Venezuela, and Venezuela is doing great also. It's a happy country now. But it took us exactly 48 minutes to win that war. We have the greatest military in the world, 48 minutes. And we've paid for the cost of the war, where do you hear this? 28 times already. More, but 28 times. So the cost of the war, we've already, because we brought millions of barrels of oil out, and we're getting along great. The people running it, they're our people, they're great people.